Hello, everyone. Good evening. I would like to welcome all the parents, all the teachers, and all the kids who have joined us today. Today's topic for Square Tail Sunday is very special because Miss Sonia is going to take us through all the webinars that we have gone through in the past. She's going to summarize it for us, and the topic is nurturing stepping stones with recapitulation, consolidation, retention. So, a very warm welcome, Sonia, to you, and thank you for joining us. Over
Thank
to you.
you. Thank you so much, and a very, very warm welcome to everybody. And like every day, my special cup of tea with all of you. I tell you that I wait for this cup of tea every week, and thank you all for making it so special. So, building communities was this whole dream of the Square Panda team, and it simply means pulling in our resources, consolidating every asset we have and using them for the wider good of the community and simply enjoying the journey together. Like, all of us are this whole time that we're spending together. Today, the Square Tails Sunday has become a growing family. There are people whom we invite to share their thoughts. Today, of course, I'm alone, but I'm not really alone. I'm there with all of you. So whoever comes to us becomes an integral part of our growing family. This is the 10th episode. I don't know where 9 have just flown. They have just gone by so beautifully. And I always felt that unless you consolidate, unless you put your assets back together, you check whether you're leveraging everything you have learned, that the learning is not a complete cycle. So we thought that we'll put this evening together, not only for you all, but also for us to look back and say, my God, did we do enough? Or wow, we've done so much. So let's see at the end of the day, the session today, whether we feel this wonder of what we all shared and went along. So some weeks back, some months back, I had gone to a small place called Palla. In fact, this has been also, and I asked somebody, are you a copycat? So this person turned around and told me, कि मैडम ये तो आपकी शहरी भाषा है, हम इसको गुणों का आदान प्रदान कहते हैं. अपने गुण आपको दे देता हूँ और आपके गुण मैं ले लेता हूँ. Simply meaning to say, when we say copycat, we mean just copying from somebody. But this really nice teacher from this small village school made me understand it means an exchange of your skills and my skills. And today, with all respect, with all humility to all the wonderful speakers, the wonderful people who were here, Hiral who did one of the sessions for us, I am going to try and consolidate what I learned from all of you. So as we start, we will start with the story of our panda, which we always do. And so today we start again. So if the children are here, everybody ready. If the mummies and daddies are here, you are ready. Grandmoms, I'm told, are joining these days. That is what I heard from a couple of grandmothers. Some girls I knew whose mums are as old as me told me now, I sit with my daughter and she sits with her son. So I think how beautifully we are growing this Square Tail Sunday Chai family of ours. So little children, clap with me. Clap, 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 and snap, snap, snap. Clap, 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 and snap, snap, snap. So this is little panda that you see. This is little panda that you see. Clapping, clapping, clapping with me. Clapping, clapping, clapping with me. So clap, 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 and snap, snap, snap. And out on the window one fine day, out on the window one fine day, Panda looks for his friends to play. Panda looks for his friends to play. He keeps looking, who's coming, who's coming. And for the children who've been with me, they know. Out popped up the monkey. That chats, chats, chat. Chitter, chatter, chitter, chatter, chat, chat, chat. So do you chat with your mommy and daddy like that? That's what the monkey is asking you. That I go chitter, chatter, chat, chat, chat. Do you chat with your mommy and daddy like that? Then comes the next friend. It's Rinny the rabbit who just cannot keep his things back in their place. So Pan the panda teaches him how to set things right and each thing to have a special place, to have a corner for the toys, to have a corner for the books, to have everything, to have a corner for the cleaning, and to create the art nooks. So now Rinny the rabbit is going to learn from Pan the panda. So who all came out? Monkey came out, Rinny the rabbit came out, and then came the parrot who loves to learn words. It's one of the smartest little birds. So this little parrot goes, he has many words. Many words. And you have to now think of how many words you know. Look at all the things around you. And today when we finish the session, you're going to name all the things that you can see in your house. All right? And then came the gray elephant that has ears so big. Ears so big. He listens first and then he speaks. So he listens first and then he speaks. And then comes a butterfly, white and pink, with a smile so happy and bright. So it is pink and white. And then comes a colorful little caterpillar, hungry as can be. He keeps asking Pan, oh, do you have food for me? Oh, do you have food for me? And Pan says, oh my God, look at this hungry little caterpillar. And then who comes? Then comes the slithering snake, as quiet as can be. Slither along with me. I don't have legs, but I can move. And that also fast and so smooth. So the slithering snake comes really nicely. With him comes sometimes the flamingo, sometimes the bird, and all of them move so beautifully and stop. Move and stop, like yoga. Okay? Then comes Panda's mom. Now, Panda's mom does work all day. And Panda loves to help her, and then he goes to play. He learns to do so many things, and then he sits on the window and happily sings. And then come the humming yellow bees. And they sing a happy song. Would you like to sing along? So with these, we've covered our 9 beautiful sessions. So there is Pan the panda. I'm going to go through it very fast. We did the little chatting time, and the chitter-chatter monkey comes out. Then we talked about stories. With Rinny the rabbit, we spoke about creative pillar. With Nishi, then we did the snake. We did this little snake and the poses and the yoga with Akash and Priyanka. We did another very, very beautiful session. And then we did Gungunati Kahaniya. We did Gungunati Kahaniya, the last session with Poonam. So there were so many people with us, and can all the children count? So we have Pan the panda, the monkey, the rabbit, the parrot, the elephant, the butterfly, the caterpillar, the snake, Panda's mommy, and the little bee. Now what I'm going to ask all of you to do is leave your mommies and daddies with me and go very quickly, color this, draw these beautiful pictures, and you can come back after some time, right? So what we can do is, and so we had this nurturing which we did with Jadhav ma'am, which was like one of my very, very, it was like a big learning, because it is something which I have been looking forward to sharing with you. So we did the Montessori, the nurturing with Jadhav ma'am. So these were the sessions we did, which I'm going to pick up whatever I could understand best out of these sessions, best out of these wonderful people who came and helped us to learn. So when we did our first session, we named, it was a very interesting name that we had. We said that storytelling for the millennial moms, because it was Mother's Day, but I would say for the moms and dads as well, because I know I'm seeing so much of, beautiful teamwork between the parents especially in times like this. And I think sometimes, what I realize and what I'm seeing around my house is that perhaps we never had a chance to do this, and we never gave each other the chance to do this. So for all the moms who keep feeling that this is my responsibility, please share your responsibility. I think that's one message for the millennial moms, that please don't take on so much that, everything becomes your responsibility. Share it. Share it, and don't feel guilty when you have to take your cup of tea and happily sip it. Sit in the balcony sometimes. Love yourself sometimes. It's so important. It's so important, right? That's why I always carry my cup of tea with me. And I sip it also without feeling guilty with all of you. So for all the millennial moms and all the millennial dads, please take care of your children, because this time is never ever going to come back. Stories can help the children learn many aspects, develop an active vocabulary, phonemic awareness, and I would say as parents, just enjoy the story time with your children. There may be things they will learn, different things, but you don't worry about it. Enjoy this moment with your children. So that was the first session that we had spoken about. The second session that we had was an interesting session. So I'm going to very quickly do this with you. It's anyway my favorite one. Now that, so we did this beautiful story of the broom, and we also did a Mr. Mop. We did this beautiful Mr. Mop. And last time I had this mop on a thing, but after doing my Montessori session with Jadhav ma'am, she told me, no, have a mop where you can sit on the floor and squeeze it dry. So our mop has changed, all right? So Mr. Mop is a friend of Miss Broom. They work together and keep the room clean. They have a duster, a dustpan that gathers the dust, and a duster is an absolute must. So I think these days our life is like this, the broom, the pocha, the duster. It's okay if you are small and cannot keep the whole room clean. Just sweep and mop the corners, and no dust must be seen. Mommy needs help, and it's your home too. So for all the children listening, mommy needs help, and it's your home too. So helping makes you her friend so true. So please be nice to mommies. Please help them out. So let's make out our cleaning corners and become really little responsible children. So make your corners for children. This was one of the things which we had discussed. And for the parents who built these corners, what I would like to ask you is, are they still intact? You know what happens is, we build things, we get them toys, we get them resources, but we don't take care of them. We don't train them to take care of them. So when you build, like over here, you have your creating corners, you have the book corner, the art corner, you have the cleaning corner and the toys corner. If these four things are rotated properly, and you could replace corners. So normally what we did, we started with these four basic corners, but you could remove the toys and put them in a box and make them your science corner that day. So that day the children can do 4-5 activities for the next 2-3 days with some mixing, bits of paper with the air, blowing up balloons. So very simple science activities which we will do over a period of time. Or you could replace the cleaning corner with perhaps a corner of just words today, or just letters today, or like if you have one of these beautiful games which the Square Panda has, so have that gaming corner that day. So circulate the corners. That would be my suggestion. If you have created the corners, maintain them. Circulate them. Change them once in a while. Create patterns. If you create patterns, that's what we do in schools, It's not that, imagine we have 30-40 children, but we still create a pattern in a school. I think this is a beautiful time. Create a pattern. We don't know when the children are coming back to school. So please, let this become a time which is not tedious. Let them be responsible. Let them help you to maintain these corners. So building corners was also a very, very important part of what we did. Then we came to a very, very interesting topic. And like I said, all the guests invited are people who are committed to their own causes. They're passionate, they're lovely human beings. And like today, I made a call for somebody to speak on our session for August, and she asked me, how do you choose people who are speaking on this evening? I said they have to be good humans, because unless you connect with each other, I don't think we really do justice to the cause at all, right? The whole purpose of what we are doing together doesn't get fulfilled if you don't find a very strong bond between people who are speaking and people who are listening, right?
Early literacy is the foundation for all learning. Building on this foundation, our mission at Square Panda is to help every child succeed at early literacy. One of the things that parents may not always be aware of is that learning to read is an extremely complex skill. Not only from a behavioral perspective where children have to attend school for many years to learn how to read, but also from the perspective of the brain, where some profound rewiring needs to happen to enable skilled reading. One of the other things that I want to emphasize is that it is very important for children to really get engaged and have fun with the reading process. That is what ultimately will drive their intrinsic motivation to keep coming back and keep learning.
So Neha had some fantastic tips for us. Neha, who's a specialist in the listening and speaking. She's actually an audiologist. I hope I've got the designation, the thing right. And so we go to the stepping stones of listening, importance of listening in early childhood. So we did this really nice activity where we did this, Aao milo, shilo shalo, कच्चा धागा रेस लगा लो, आओ मिलो शीलो शालो, कच्चा धागा रेस लगा लो, 20 पत्ते तोड़े, एक पत्ता कच्चा, हिरन का बच्चा गया पानी में, पकड़ा उसकी नानी ने, नानी गई रूट, नानी को मनाएंगे, रसमलाई खाएंगे, 1 2 3. Or Miss Mary Mac, you could go to very adult with activities. So what did you do here? We were making eye contact. You were looking into each other's eyes and playing a simple clap and a click game, or the game that you play like that. What you held during the game was joint attention. The child kept paying attention to you. And what she spoke about was so beautiful. She said, if you want a sustained attention of a child, then the child has to be interested in what the child does. And secondly, the amount you hold the child depends on the interest, on what would hold these children. So sometimes you feel children are distracted or they're not able to hold attention. So there could be multiple reasons for it. There could be reasons about where the child is just not interested in what you're doing, or the child is not able to hold interest. So what you can do, in fact, after Neha session, after about 2-3 sessions we had, one with the on breathing, balance and being, and the yoga people who are practicing yoga, Priyanka and Akash, so beautifully told us that how important it is to be still, because if you don't do that, and also it's so important to listen for all the development. Another very important takeaway from her was that we talked about about how many times in many homes, when children are speaking, the dads would say, Sun lena, why don't you just listen to what he or she is saying? It's nice if you listen, because your interpretation of what the child says could be just different from the mom's. Plus, the moms are there all the time, So, for all the dads who are there all the time too, great job. But if you are not, when you walk in to homes, walk in with a commitment to listen. So while we say listening is important for children, it is also important that the adults listen to the children, because these very same children will turn around and not pay attention to you after they grow up. So these are those years where eye contact, a joint attention span, a sustained attention, and even just saying, really? oh, I don't know about this. I'll just talk to you about it. So respond like that instead of just doing your own thing and not looking at the child. This will become the habit with the child soon. So this was one very, very important takeaway that we had. We talked about the various steps for language development. How important the listening was for the speaking to happen, how important the speaking and a big vocabulary is for the reading to happen, and how important the reading is for the writing to happen. So these days I'm seeing a lot of worksheets being floated around, everybody's talking about worksheets, downloaded, printed. I think if you just get the skills into place initially and then do it, I think it works. What she also gave us a very, very key thing were red flags. She said that if you see this happening, please pay attention to them. So if you don't pay attention to them, like very small children not making eye contact could be a sign which you should watch out for. If they make an eye contact but they cannot respond to sound, it is also very, very important to take care of. If they are not clear in their language, while the children of their age are able to speak a certain amount, if these children are unable to, it's a little time to be alert. What also was mentioned was that there is a phase. Like if children at 3 are speaking, then you wait till the child is about 3.5. A 6 months here, a 6 months there is nothing to worry about, because that could be very, very normal. But beyond 6 to 8 months, if you still see that the child is not able to, then if the child is able to speak words, but is not able to speak multiple syllable words, that's another thing. That's why as the children grow, because right now we have parents from all ages. So if the children are not able to say big words with these, try and first say it with clarity. If it is still not happening, look for simple professional intervention. What happens is when, we hesitate at the intervention so many times, but if you do it when they are young, you will give them that scope to get better, and, there'll be a big advantage of this. So the listening, speaking, so important. And then we had this beautiful smiling lady, Jyoti, who said happitude and creating happy attitudes was so important. The few takeaways that I could collect, because we have to cover so many of the speakers, and concepts. And how did I choose the concepts? Because I felt that these things are really important before we go down to reading skills or we go down to writing skills. Before that, these things are really important. So what she said, that 50% of the happiness comes from genetics. You're born with it. You're either born with happy genes or unhappy genes. 40% is in our hands. Can you imagine that 40%? 10% is situational. Sometimes you get upset and sometimes not. And the next word which I learned which was really interesting, was hedonic adaptation. Pleasures and gratification. So we talked about the fact that how we grow our children to be happy with instant pleasures. We'll give you this, we'll give you a chocolate, we'll get you another game, we'll do that. But after some time, you realize it's not enough. I think you all go through this. The children, are not allowed to get bored at all. You are doing things for them too much, too fast. And then that also is not enough. So when you're growing children, of course pleasures are important. Of course it's important, but grow them for longer things which need longer investment. Like for example, if children like order and they create an orderly environment and are habituated, they become happy at the end of the day, and that becomes a part of their own gratification. I did this, but the doing this, please remember, it's going to take time. It's not as easy as you doing it for children, because when you have to get children to do their own things, it's also very, very important. So we were talking about a generation of plenty. but we must inculcate the fact that we have to earn it, we have to take care of things, and these have to be developed from foundation, the thing which I felt what I really liked was make happiness a habit. Some people just make unhappiness a habit. Every day they'll find 5 things to be unhappy about. And that's what your children are going to learn. You may not realize it, but that's what your children are going to learn from you. So make happiness a habit in spite of whatever happens. Try and keep few things which would say that, yeah, today these were happy things that happened to us. Look into the mirror and smile a little bit. I think it's really important. It's important to smile at yourself. And there's this beautiful song that, I have, that looking in the mirror, what do I see? I see myself looking at me. So smiling, 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 happy as can be, I see myself looking at me. So I think sometimes it's so important for parents to take this breather, to say that, yes, these are the things that make me happy. Allow children to see that habit of happiness. I've seen homes, I've seen little children, they will come smiling in spite of everything. It is raining, the clothes are dirty, the shoes are wet, but this child will be gleefully smiling. There will be one child who will come absolutely perfect, umbrella, raincoat, cap, boots, and the child will come screaming into the class and say, it's raining today. And you wonder where this comes from, no? Because this child has everything, but the child is still very, very unhappy. So what makes them different? I think it's also an attitude that says, and it's okay. It's very important. Things are not going to be perfect. They are not perfect in today's circumstances. Also, we are saying the same thing happening in our homes. Some homes, in spite of these conditions, in spite of all the hard things, are still eating a happy meal together. So, in the Indian culture, in the culture, we say that if you eat a meal with a gratification, with your dua, with your prayers, with your, thank you, it's so important. And what beautiful thing we did was, we made a nice emotion box, So we created this emotion box and we said that, okay, so now this is an emotion box which has got these little feelings, and how are you feeling today? And we asked them if you can take little passport size photographs of the children and just let the child put it and say, how are you feeling today? When you explain feelings to children, and they see that that it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be sad, and they see how you react to the anger and sadness, or to the hurt, or to, if you hurt, they are going to become like that. So it's okay to have feelings, it's okay to feel differently, but can we react in a little better way? And what I've also done with the thing is, we've used 2 very important things in this box. One is the mirror. Like I told you, there's a mirror in the box. So when the child actually opens the box, the child can see herself or himself. So sometimes when your child is extremely upset, you just quietly open this magic box and the child sees himself. So if the child is crying, or if the child is smiling, or if the child is angry, the first thing the child sees is the expression. See that your hand, the hand touch is soft, and automatically things calm down. Like I'm telling you, these are suggestions. Some may work, some may not work, but they're worth a beautiful try. So this was a happy attitude that we had. And then came up a very, very interesting part of what we created with Nishi were pop-up books, art, and creating these beautiful, calendars for words. I would say you can create flip hour calendars. We also have this on our Square Dwells platform, so you can very easily go there and look at it. But I will show you one of the most beautiful books. So while we did the Hungry Caterpillar that day, but what Nishi sent for me was a story from one of my books. Like we mentioned, I am an author for an earlier series published by the Oxford University Press called My Learning Train. So very rarely do I pick up a story from there, but this is a story from there, and it's a beautiful pop-up which is talking about a bird. So each time you open the book, a bird pops up. So there was a chirpy chip, and she met, so it's pictures taken out of any book of the child, any old book, and then it's put onto this, and we've put a sample of this onto a Square Tales platform. So while I cannot explain the whole thing to you, it will take long, but it's a beautiful, process to put together. Saying, you can put words, especially for these slightly older children, 5 years to 7 years, 8 years. You can build books and you can just do these beautiful pop-ups. They can color them, they can sketch them. We don't need a big artist for this. You just need simple, paper rolls and little cutouts of children. You can take it from old books. And then it's very interesting because the little children just enjoy the popping up. And the older ones write words. The slightly older ones write sentences. So can you imagine creating this wonder of their own books? Creating small calendars where they keep flipping and adding words. So during these times when, we know that some places the finances can be difficult. We know we want to teach children how to keep minimum usage. So these are beautiful craft ideas which you can do. And like I said, listening, speaking, language, vocabulary, all this will be taken care of by something like this. Is simple A4 size seed sheets, bundled together and little pop-ups created. So she brought us this wonderful magic of, and what we also suggested was that if you have a story which has got a particular flow, you change the flow completely when you do the pop-up. So allow a new story to emerge, allow an imagination to come up, allow new characters to come into the story, which you can't do in a ready-made storybook. So these pop-up books become that wonderful magic that we create.
From the creators of the award-winning English Early Literacy Phonics Playset, we bring to you a research-based, revolutionary and cutting-edge English reading product. Square Tales combine digital learning with physical application, transforming your pre-readers into independent and confident readers. Your child starts instantly from our bookshelf. Our patented blending engine helps your child blend letter sounds to form words with only 8 letters. Once they practice the words, they can start to read along the story through a very engaging and interactive interface. Several engaging activities at the end of each book help the child revise what they have learned.
Good job!
And while the children revise, our product assess their learning. Just try Square Tales 15 minutes a day to see a stark progress in your child.
I think the other thing that came to my mind while we were doing this was that, we don't need to invest too much of money to make things exciting for children. Remember, you have your corners, you have your art corner, you have your books corner, so imagine creating little booklets in which your word lists are going. These are all nice things to do, with all the digital happening, which is also a great blessing for children today. But hands-on learning, please keep some hands-on learning time. And then we did a beautiful session on nurturing, balance, breathing, and being. And I thought that when we spoke to the yoga practitioners, I would, more than calling them instructors, I would call them both yoga practitioners. And they did something really beautiful for us, which we put up also on the Square Tale. So please go and pull this poster down. It's a beautiful poster to have in your homes. So should children, so we asked them this question, that how early is early for yoga? So they said that, even prenatal, I believe women who are pregnant and practice yoga, the process of delivering the child is so much easier. The breathing is so much better. So imagine that that sthirta, that breath, that balance is coming right from the time the child is in the womb. And then as the child can sit up, the child can walk, start with few seconds. So we ask them that, how many minutes should we ask the child to be still, balanced. And they said even it starts with 30 seconds, we are okay. So imagine starting this, we say activity, movement, because this is a time when your children need to, their energies are not getting used. The amount of running they used to do, go to the school, get the bus, get down, walk to the platforms. There were so many things happening to the children's life which is not happening today. So physical, attention to the physical, the large motor needs must be paid. And you can do it with a beautiful balance of, getting the children to do a few exercises and a little bit of running, playing around the table. So what they did was a beautiful monkey pose which said movement and stop, slither and stop, balance like a flamingo. Then they did a beautiful pose of, the butterfly, the beetle pose they talked about so beautifully. And they said that it is the most beautiful because it teaches the children to go down and be humble. So please go down to our thing and bring this down, practice these little, things with the children. And after that, we had this lovely topic that said, nurturing independent learners. That was what people wanted, and we thought nothing better than the Montessori method to actually nurture children to be independent. So this wonderful speaker, Jadhav ma'am, came from Amravati. She is a young 75-year-old professional running fantastic Montessori centers, and she said some very apt things. So she said the responsibility of growing and developing children lies with the parents. We as schools and teachers are only assisting them. And I suddenly realized that, we schools seem to take on the whole responsibility. Whereas what we need to do is to keep this beautiful triangle balance going. And now the nature, the life and what's happening has created this balance for us, where we are facilitating parents and parents are facilitating their children. It's a beautiful balance. Children are with you in their first learning environment, their home. They are with you as their first teachers, the parents, the grandparents. So we are really not worried. I'm sure together we will see this time through. Give scope for repetition, she said. She said, give scope for repetition, because unless, some children will want to do the same activity again and again and again. Give them the choice to do them. Allow them to fail if they want to, and allow them to perfect it if they want to. Because Montessori is like that. It's about creating an environment, a prepared environment, and then allowing that to help children learn. That's the reason I started with the corners. Because at home, how can we make it simple? Now, I can't create everything at home what a school would create. At the same time, at school, we have to bring many things from the house sometimes. So create that environment where the child will learn on their own. Give them choices. Don't insist. Nudge them, direct them. Like even in the Montessori environment, we offer it to the children. Would you like to do this today? You remember you did that yesterday. So sometimes the children take the offer. What she spoke about so beautifully were the exercises of practical life and their long-term impact on life. These are daily, simple chores that we do at home. The sweeping, like she said, the mopping, they use the hand mop. She said, no, use a cloth mop. So when the child squeezes it, the child actually uses all the fingers, understands that water can be squeezed out, and then when the child sits down and mops, he actually moves the whole body. This squeezing will become a readiness for writing and also to understand the dignity of work. So many times I'm seeing the youngsters, teenagers, parents complaining that the children don't work at all. Well, you never gave them a chance as children. A little 9-month, 10-month-old baby can hold a thing. A little 2-year-old baby can take a thing and walk. So from the beginning, if you make exercises of practical life a part of your children's life, it's going to be beautiful. Why should you? And then sensorial activities, the touch, the feel, etc., to be really, really useful and beautiful. So Montessori says that the happiness of a teacher or a parent is when you're not needed anymore. Thoda painful hai, but it's worth getting the children independent and happy on this, right? So these were, some of the really, really happy sessions we had. And then we had this really interesting session that said Gungunati Kahaniya. Now, Gungunati Kahaniya was something which I had imagined many, many years back. I was sitting with this friend of mine in her garden, and we were humming, and I said, oh my God, we must do humming stories for at some point of time. And this is a good 10, 11 years back. And finally, we could bring Poonam together for all of you. And she sang the most beautiful songs. I don't even have the guts to sing it, but I wrote down a few words of what she's saying, So it was a beautiful story she sang that said, Do the beej, beej the do, dharti ke niche rehte the wo. She did this whole story on seeds. Do the beej, beej the do, dharti ke niche rehte the wo. And I don't have the guts to sing more for you, but you can see it again on. It's a beautiful story of the seeds. So to make us understand that how simple it is to sing little songs for children where you don't have to badger them. So she said something very beautiful. She said, I have these little, instruments of maybe the bell or a little, a tambourine, or maybe just a music beat that you can have. So when you play it, the children know that this is the time for this. And I thought it was such a beautiful idea. My bell was here, but it seems to I seem to have misplaced it. So she said, create your family tunes, create little family tunes and hum them along with the children. So I thought that, like for example, we did this story of Panda, goes for a walk. Today he will sing and he will not talk. He meets some humming bees. One bee says, hum with me. And the panda hums along. He loves to hear a happy song. He meets a bird that lives on a tree. The bird chirps, sing with me. And the panda chirps along. He loves to hear a happy song. He meets a monkey that chatters on a tree. Monkey says, chatter with me. And the panda chatters along. He loves to hear a happy song. Now, it doesn't matter whether you can hum, whether you can sing, whether you can chatter, but sing to your children. I think it's a very, very beautiful, concept that, I felt that, sometimes you saying, "Bacche naha nahi rahe, they're not listening to me." So suppose you say that, fill the water right to the top. Don't let it spill. Stop, stop, stop. Do you want it warm or cool? Do you want to sit and bathe on a stool? Bathing can be fun, Lather and soap and bubbles you can blow. Children may just come more happily than saying, chalo nahane chalo. So sing along, hum along, smile along, and hopefully things, children would just respond to us. There were such beautiful tips that we collected, and these lovely girls who are handling the whole team put this all together, saying happiness is like a butterfly. So stay calm. If you stay calm, it will sit on your shoulder. And if you run after it, it's going to run away. So a little bit of calmness. Stories and songs have very old relationships. The first song that the child hears, the first music that the child hears is the heartbeat of the mother. So you can hear the heartbeat right from the womb. Which Poonam had given us for singing, and the happiness one came from Jyoti. The best teaching happens when you don't actually teach. And I think this was a very strong message that came from Jadhav ma'am, where she said, create an environment, allow the children to learn, and it will work so beautifully, you know. Little children are perfectionists, so we shouldn't stop them from trying out any task they choose. Let them work with freedom and without restriction. Never force children to read. Ready a book space and offer them a lot of books. We are going to do one whole session on how books can help them and how many kinds of books and things like that coming a little later. So that's the kind of beautiful messages that we have. A few challenges that you'd like to take up with children. I think we have exactly 1 minute left. And like I said, I hope today I've been able to do justice to this beautiful journey of language, of, books, of art, of habitude, of being, breathing, music, independent learners. And I genuinely hope that, this evening, has been a happy compilation of what we all have grown, today. So thank you all for joining me regularly. Thank you for, growing this whole community that you're all growing together. And Preeti, thank you so much for being here with us. And I hope you enjoyed the session with us, Preeti.
It was a wonderful session as always, Sonia, and I think it was a great way that you summarized everything, all the key takeaways from these different sessions we have had. And not just thanking you, but I would like to thank all of our speakers whom we have had so far in our last 10 sessions, and all the people in the audience who have supported us through this journey, all the parents, all the teachers, and all the kids who have joined us, who have heard us out, and who have liked our ideas and came up with suggestions. So I think without them this journey would not have been possible. So yeah, and look forward to doing so many more with you and with all the beautiful audience.
When you get fed up of seeing me, then tell the Square Panda they'll change me.
Done. It's not going to happen anytime soon, I'm telling you.
Next week, parents, we're going to do a whole session on reading readiness. And we're not going to start the reading, we're going to do reading readiness. I'm going to take you through a series of activities which you can do at home with a lot of ease and create perhaps these beautiful walls, next time you people should put up some pictures of such walls. All this is hand created, I can print it out, but I always prefer hand creating it, because suppose I don't have a printer, then what to do? So I have to lead by example. And thank you so much, and have a great week starting from Monday
thank you,
tomorrow.
everyone.
Bye bye. And thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
If you are able to look into the future, you will see that most of the learning is going to happen with a lot of fun, lot of gamification, lot of emotion, and a lot of technology. Square Panda, which has disrupted the whole scenario, a system wherein the child learns not just ABCD, but learns how to pronounce them, how to read them.
Pan. Sap is on pan. Sap is on pan. Good job. Yes.
We should look at new methodologies and accept them. These are research based. There are a lot of trials have been done on children, parents, everybody. If it is effective, then there is no reason why we should not accept it.